I'm sorry for the wait. Would you believe it? It's definitely not something that happens often, is it? We had technical issues that forced me to use a different browser. So I've had to get a different browser and do it all differently. But guess what? We're here and I've got my wonderful Pinnacle shirt on today, which may remind you of a certain football player whose birthday it was yesterday. I know I was keeping you all waiting. There's definitely, you can say there's better options if you like, but I'm doing my best. See, technical issues, you see, I had to overcome it very, very bloody quickly. Let's just say that. Good evening, Sean, Tim, Peter, Pets, Plants and Fish Tanks. Hope you're doing well. Kel, Sean again, Jason, Owen, Keith. Now that's Saucy. Good to see you, Luke, Cloco, Woods, Mark, Jack, everybody that's in, the 72 of you in currently. It's good to be here and back for another stream. Now, don't you worry. I've actually invested in a lovely little piece of kit, by the way, which has managed to make my Wi-Fi connection much better. In fact, it is 10 times better from what the numbers are showing me. So we can't go wrong with that, can we? The Wi-Fi was pretty rubbish last time, but it is much more improved now. So got an Ethernet cable. I don't know what generation it is, but it's awesome. So, where have we been? Mark, I hope you had a good birthday yesterday, my friend. Peter, hello. I hope you're doing well. Declan, Ashley, Briggsy, I hope you're doing well, Briggsy. And Awesome Astronomy, don't you worry, my good friend. You will be coming on this stream very, very soon. Oh, sorry if I've given it away. One of our guests that will be coming on, the amazing Awesome Astronomy, who was on our stream maybe a week or so ago. But time goes so quickly, I just don't know anymore. So there you go. So that's Ralph. He'll be coming on a little bit later on. Now, guys, Nick, good to have you here as well. Zahia, Anne, Miri, Claire, thank you for your offer as well, by the way, Claire, too kind, and Alistair. Guys, it's been a big day. There's been a lot of revelations. There's been a lot of controversy. And in specific, we're talking about Houssem Aouar. Now, Houssem Aouar, French international, plays for Lyon. He's been in the past wanted by clubs like Arsenal and others as well, but not quite living up to the high potential they expected of him at this age. That being said, still a very good player, still a very capable player, and still playing a big, big role at Lyon. And of course, potentially soon at Nottingham Forest. Now, we saw from GNNF, I think it was, that Nottingham Forest potentially may miss out on Aouar because of what happened in terms of the potential stalling of the deal, because we all know that Houssem Aouar preferred, or from what we can see from reports, preferred a move to Real Betis. However, we can now say that at the moment it's looking likely that he won't stall the deal and that he will join. Now, I do just want to mention also that Huddersfield are currently 2-0 down to Norwich. And so there you go. Half time, Huddersfield down 2-0. So anyway, back onto this. Thank you for your congratulations on 1K. There's 112 of you in. If we can make it to 1.1K by the end of the night, which is entirely doable because we're on like 1.095, then that'll be amazing. We got Everton at the weekend. I'm looking forward to that. But we're going to be talking about everything, in specific Houssem Aouar, though, because this is the person that, although, and I did say it, by the way, for people that are saying now, oh, well, you're just saying this and this. I've reported on both sides of the story, but I've made my opinion very clear on a couple of streams. I've said, and you can go and pull the last stream back, albeit in very low quality, you can hear me say very clearly that although there's rumours of this deal stalling, I still think the deal is likely to go ahead. I've said that on Twitter, I've said it in person, and I've said it on stream. This is what's going to happen. Now, Charlton Athletic are also back in the race for Lyle Taylor. Looks like he could be moving back to his old club by the looks of it. Negotiations currently ongoing, and he's the 7th choice striker for Nottingham Forest. So there's some breaking news for you as well. It looks like Lyle Taylor is going to be on his way out of Nottingham Forest. Not quite sure at the moment whether that'll be on a permanent basis or whether that'll be on a loan basis. But these reports coming in now. There's nothing 100%. It's from a guy and a journalist called Caballos Primavera, but nothing concrete in it just yet. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But it's looking very likely. So also Ruslan Malinovsky, who I've rated very highly, looks like he'll be going to Tottenham. The midfielder from Atalanta looks like he'll be moving to the London side instead of Forest. So a couple things going on. At the club. Houssem Aouar being, I think, the number one priority for Forest. I mean, we know that they're going to invest at least 17 million euros in the player, which is just about 15 or so million pounds. So a decent deal for a player of his standard. But I think he's only got like maybe a year left on his contract, I think it was, or 2. So he hasn't got very long left on his contract from what I know. So it's good to have 128 of you in. Remember, give us your thoughts on what's going on at Nottingham Forest. It doesn't just have to be about Houssem Aouar, as the thumbnail suggests. It can be about anything. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on around the club. Evening, Kev. I hope you're doing well. Will, hope you're doing good. We'll talk about the left-back situation now. I've not, and this is me being honest, because I'm not in the know. So I can't tell you what the club are going for, other than if I speak to friends that will know. And at the moment, from speaking to people, I can say I don't know anything regarding the left back and left wing back situation. The last I heard was that Estupinian potentially going to Brighton to replace Cucurella. So I don't think he'd come to Forest. Obviously, Brighton being a more established Prem side at the moment, it's looking unlikely that he would come to Forest, to be honest. That being said, anything can happen. Yeah, so still a couple of weeks to go of this transfer window, and I'm going to be covering absolutely every single minute of it. And don't forget, if you haven't already, you can follow me on Twitter at I'm Jamie Martin, and you can get all the latest transfer updates from Nottingham Forest. I'm staying up very late and getting up very early in the morning to make sure that you are all informed with the latest transfer news. So make sure that you stay in tune with me on my various social medias, and we'll kind of get back to you with that. Hi, Dean. I hope you're doing well. Eve, it's good to hear from you. We have to have you on the show at some point. Owen, it is a shame about Malinovsky. Definitely looked a good number 10 and good for rotation and competition. That being said, if Spurs is probably more desirable, but he's 29. So if he wants to play at that level with Spurs, then fair enough. But we've seen with Jed Spence anything can happen. But that being said, Malinovsky's a much more established player than Jed Spence, lots more experience. So all the best to him. All the best to him. Very good player. Nick Hemphill, yes, guys, hit the like button. Remember, don't forget that when you hit the like button, it drives up engagement. It gets more people to listen, and more people get to hear about Nottingham Forest, in particular Derby fans. They get to have it all on their YouTube feed, and don't we love that? And the hat, Dembele, Man United are in for him. I think, is that Dembele from Lyon? Because I know that Forest were actually interested in Dembele. I think it's Moussa Dembele from Lyon. And then it looks like he's going to instead explore some other things with Lyon in terms of a contract extension. So still a few things going on. Fernandez 4 says, if you get Aouar and a few more quality players, including a striker, do we need another striker though? I mean, we've got. I mean, I suppose I just don't know if we need another forward, to be completely honest. I don't know how everybody feels about this, but I think, finishing above United, it would have, if you had suggested this maybe 10 years ago. Just before, I think Fergie won. Did Fergie win the Premier League 2013? That was the last time they won it, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember that. Then yeah, people would laugh at you. But nowadays, it's entirely possible. Man United, if they lose their next game, they could be down there for a very long time, and getting mid-table might be very lucky. Anything can happen, but this is Forest we're talking about now. So let's be positive about Forest. Sky Sports, they had a French football expert on this evening. I saw somebody did send me a little clip of it. And it looks like at the moment, I think they were suggesting that Houssem Aouar's brother and other representatives of him are currently flying or are in Nottingham to speak to Forest about that. It looks like everything's been agreed from what I can see. It's just waiting for it all to happen. Obviously, Neil Maupay, this is a very, very important one. And you say that we're still light on a centre-back, Jack, but do remember that Kouyaté is also versatile. I thought the exact same, but look more into Cheku Kouyaté, who recently signed. He's a bit older, but plenty of experience. He plays midfield and also in the defence as well. So you've got some backup there, if anything. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at what Kel said. People are pointing me to Kel's comment. I can't find Kel's comment now. I know you're having a conversation down there. Thank you. Oh, Kel, thank you. Really, really appreciate that. Loving the Forest shirt, by the way. We are Premier League. Come on. I mean, this is a bit older, to be honest. I don't know when this is from. If anybody can, name the year, I think it may have been late 90s, early thousands. I don't know, though, so don't call me out for it. But Kel, thank you. Really appreciate it. I'm going to keep this going, this streaming stuff for as long as I can without overdoing it. Obviously, once transfer window's over, it'll be a lot less. But I'm sure you'll all be really excited to wait a week for it. So let's hope so. Everton trying to steal Maupay. Now let's talk about Maupay, because I know that Alex Crook was reporting on it earlier. And I just want to say this. Everton and Fulham are very interested in Neil Maupay, right? There's no hiding that. But that being said, at the same time, there is no reason why Nottingham Forest won't get Neil Maupay. They've agreed on a fee. They've agreed on essentially everything except for personal terms with the player. So that's still yet to happen. I would say it's likely. I don't think I've been wrong with Aouar. Obviously, anything can change. But that being said, at the moment, it's looking likely Aouar will come in. Maupay, I'd say the same. We've just got to agree those personal terms. Of course, Everton and Fulham have come in late, and there's a possibility. But I'd say that Forest is still the leading candidates, despite what TalkSport say. I mean, I've seen TalkSport put out at least 3 pieces of news on it today. So I don't know what they're trying to do, pushing for it or what. But I mean, there's other options around. No doubt. But obviously, Forest don't want to be losing to Everton and Fulham. That's another thing. But that's it. Neil Maupay looking likely, despite all these late interests. So let's have a look. Looking forward to seeing Dennis play in the Garibaldi. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. And I mean, there's things going around on Twitter which I find really toxic. It's the whole, Watford celebrated when he left. He's this in the changing rooms, or is it? Well, let's be completely honest. All the accounts posting this are fans. They've never worked within the club. They've never been into the changing rooms, even on a tour. They don't know any of the players. They don't know any of the players' dads. They don't know any of the players' mums. They don't know any of the players' brothers, sisters. They don't know anything other than what they see every weekend. That is it. Unless there's a leak, I can guarantee that 95% of people on, and this is even for some of our own fan base, they don't know. And for the Watford people, you can have people saying, and also there's people that are sharing things, about Forest and how there's a little bit of a divide in the changing rooms there. And it's like, well, you don't actually know that. You don't know that, and unless you do, very, very damaging, because players' families watch what you say, you don't watch what their families say. It's the opposite way around. So, yeah, I think social media plays a big part, but just stick with the people that are reliable. And if you don't think I'm reliable, then that's your own thing. But I will always try to get my things absolutely 100% right and do my research first. And also, if I do get something wrong, I'll be the first to admit to it. So that's just how it works. Do you still believe we'll get Morgan Gibbs-White? No, I don't. It's a really tough one, Nick, to be honest, because I think that Forest, or according to the Mirror, a few days ago, Forest are going to make a fresh bid for him. But from what I heard from a journalist called James Nursey, now I spoke to a journalist called James Nursey who I met at Forest a few months ago, and he actually works for the Mirror. So he told me, and these are the exact words he told me, by the way, just so I know this. I said to James, hi, James, what's the situation with Morgan Gibbs-White potentially coming to Forest? And he says, essentially what he knows is Wolves are refusing to sell even when Núñez joins the team. Now, we know that Núñez is going to join Wolves for about 40 million, and he's a midfielder. Despite that, and also Guedes, he is still going to stay at Wolves. So this is what I'm talking about, people. As much as I'd love to see Morgan Gibbs-White come in, if the club don't want to sell him, and he isn't going to put in a transfer request, I don't see the reason to spend all that money. Alan St. Maxim is going up for 40 million. I'd rather spend the money there. That's just me being honest. Different players, you know. And from what I've seen of him recently, doesn't look amazing. But that being said, he'd fit in a Forest team well, and I wouldn't mind having him in. But I think that ship has almost sailed now. I think there's something still there, but I think it's probably sailed. Near Karte, heard was a hammy, but this is what I said. I said from the moment it happened, straight away, hamstring. I looked on the replay, the moment it went, boom. I don't think it'll be massively serious, to be honest. I know that hamstrings aren't nice to, injuries aren't nice to have, but Near Karte, not necessarily an injury-prone player in the past, so I'm not too worried. He gave it his all. He tried to play on as well, fair play to him. So, yeah, it's a big deal for him, I'm sure. But I'm sure Forest can cover him until then. It's a loss, but can do with it. So Cooper seems to be a great judge of character, but this is it. I agree. He knows a player. He knows what they're capable of, and he knows what to do to bring out that potential. Because not every player that he buys or has had in the past has just been amazing from the get-go. He's had to really bring it out of them. You know, Jed Spence, he really had to bring some confidence out of him. You know, and other players as well. So fair play to Steve Cooper and also the staff around him. It's not just him. It's Alan Tate. It's all the other coaches as well. And obviously Stephen Reid when he was there. So, yeah, he's a special manager. He's got a very bright future ahead of him. You know, he's only a young manager, really. Door on Tour. How much would it cost for you to join Door on Tour? It would cost Door. It would cost a whiskey sour at the Generator Mitte Hostel in Berlin. That's what it'd cost. So, listen, Door, if you want to, are we signing this contract? Because I've been waiting to the day I get offered a contract, to be honest. If that's what we're going to do, I'm down. What do you think? Door, if you want me to sign this contract, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. I'm ready. Let's have a look. Yeah. So yeah, Nunez. So he's even more than 40 million. Yeah, exactly. And they're not looking to recuperate that money. And also, Wolves, as much as they do have some financial issues, it would look if you actually go on their accounts that they've wiped most of it. So from what I can see. I think me and Gibbs-White will come in December. And by the way, Andrew, I did see your comment saying you saw me more than your wife. I appreciate that. I don't know how much she appreciates that. But there is worse people to speak to, right? I mean, is there? I don't know. I think even longer and get him on a free if that's... Whoa. I didn't expect that to happen. Apologies for that. A bit of an issue at my end there, which is rare because I've just got this brand new piece of kit. So I'm hoping that it actually helps me out a little bit. Seems to be running a little bit slower than it was before, but we're all good. Will Near Karte be back for Everton? No promises. I would say probably not. If I'm being honest, I think it'd be very optimistic to say he would be. I'm not a physio, though, by any means. So you hope so. I don't think he will be, but Steve Cook looked solid. So, yeah, Luke, I'm sorry about that. There shouldn't be any more of that, to be honest. Hopefully, touch wood. It looks like my router just went out for a little minute. So it's all good. Door. Okay, no deal. How about this, Door, then? I'll do it for free. That sounds like a good deal. Just out of love for what you do, Door. Come on, let's get this contract. Let's get the contract signed. Come on, people, let's sign the contract. Sign the contract. You'll have to get your people to talk to Door's people. I mean, yeah, I'm going to have to send my representatives over from Lyon to come and talk to him about it. Because obviously, you know, what can I say? You know, it's a big deal for me, you know, to come and play for Door on Tour, you know. I'm going to try and do a Joey Barton there, you see, with my many accents. Yeah, invest in a mesh system. I think we are looking at doing that, to be honest, Greg. So I will look at that. Wi-Fi just at the moment been a bit rubbish. I don't know what it is, but yeah. Let's have a look. Remember when Scarpa coming in January? I don't know what's going on with that, to be honest. And you raise a very good point, Sean. I don't know if Scarpa still is or whatever, but I would say probably from what I've seen. But then again, you really can't guess, can you? 160 plus people. Yeah, come on, guys. There's 21 likes and there's 160 of you watching. Actually, 162. If you can just quickly drop a like, then that would be absolutely amazing. So it would go a long way. Obviously, helps the channel. And also, if you do enjoy the content that we make, if you really want to be that nice, you can just drop us a subscribe. Only takes a moment. But I won't ask you again. I promise. Now, let's have a look at some of the comments. I'm waiting for Dor to let me know if he wants me to sign this contract because I'm ready. Dutch 700, it wouldn't mean I leave my media role by any means. Media role still here. If I'm doing a bit less of this channel, just so that I don't oversaturate content for here, I'm going to do a lot of other channels. And also, I'm going to be working on Forest podcasts with some fantastic individuals. Now, I won't say who may or may not have called me earlier. But let's just say he won the Champions League with Nottingham Forest. Shall we say that? Let's have a look at that. If you can guess who it is, then be my guest. But a certain someone called me earlier, and he played. I'll give you a hint. He played for Notts County near the end of his career, and also Grimsby. Let's have a look. If you can guess it, guess it. It isn't Frank Clark. I'll tell you that. It unfortunately isn't Frank Clark. I can't get his phone number. Let's have a look. So no deal. Oh, Dor, I'm really upset now, guys. I might have to end the stream early because I'm that upset. I'm joking. But Dor, I am actually really upset that you've rejected my contract offer. It's not Matt Derbyshire. It's good to see you back, Jigsy. You'll be pleased to know that I don't speak to Mr. Poole anymore. That ship has certainly sailed. It's not Viv Anderson. Or Anderson that used to play for Man United. Thought he was a good player. Due to Olympiacos not being in the Champions League, he's coming to Nottingham Forest. Oh, brilliant. Well, that's good then. See, Nick Hemphill to the rescue. Everybody. Wonderful. Matt Derby. It's not Matt Derbyshire. We haven't won. Oh, sorry. The European Cup. Apologies. The European Cup. It's not Franz Carr. It's not Craig West. No, don't say this. It's not. Oh, Luke, you bloody spoil it. Okay, guys, it's Harry Arter. Would you believe it? Well, let me ask you this question then. If it was the person that you're all saying it is, if you all think it's Gary Birtles, would you like to see me do a podcast with him? Would you like to see that happen? A Nottingham Forest podcast talking about his Europe days, talking about his football career, talking about Brian Clough, talking about Nottingham Forest, Man United, Notts County, and talking a little bit about his life after football, because we know he does a lot of punditry stuff as well. If you want to see it, say yes, say whatever you want in the chat, and I will make it happen, because he's just messaged me. He actually rang me whilst the stream was starting, and I couldn't answer it. I was so gutted because I thought, oh my God, this is the Gary Birtles calling me, and now I can't even answer him. So let's make it happen. Okay. If you guys give me a few weeks or maybe a month, I'll make this happen. The podcast is on. I've been trying to make it happen for a while, and let's make it happen then, people. Let's make it happen. Now, please, Eve, if you can draw a picture of Gary Birtles for me as well, that'd be amazing. And I'm sure I could get him to react to that as well on a podcast, which would be awesome. So if you guys want to see this, let me know. Do subscribe, share as well. Let people know about the channel. It goes a long way. Give us a like, and don't worry, it won't just be Gary Birtles, because after Gary Birtles we've got someone else coming on, but I can't actually give you a clue to who that is yet, because I'll be giving away too much. So that's what I'm saying. I didn't ghost Gary Birtles. No, I didn't. I did not. I was jumping on the stream, and I messaged him because I didn't have him on my phone at that time, and I said, yeah, I'm just gonna message you after. So I apologise for that. We destroyed Huddersfield, 3 losses out of 4, and now 2-0 down. And Huddersfield are in a very bad place. I said this at the very start when I started streaming, that it was going to end. and they were going to go into League One again. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to happen again. So, yeah, this is it. Jay, have you missed something with David Poole? Essentially what happened with David Poole, and I don't want to go too much into it because this is something that's publicly available. He's probably deleted it all now because he likes to post a lot about mental health, well-being and all this to cover up for what he said. But essentially a young lad called Erdin was saying that he was potentially going to kill himself. And unfortunately, commit suicide, which he didn't in the end, which is great. And I'm really glad that he's okay. And Lyle Taylor actually took part in the appeal and helping him out and, getting him to be a bit more stable mentally. But David essentially just said, get up off your arse and, and all this. So I said to David, I'm going to be honest with you. Me and David were good friends at this point. We had no problems before, ever. But then I said, that's it. I've cut off contact with you. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't want to do anything. I unfollowed him and that was it. Done. I don't speak to people that do things like that. And there's people that, of course, believe in different ways to help with people with mental health, and that's okay. But the things that he said, better left not said at all, and saying that he was trying to get attention and all this. And that's not, I don't stand for that. I didn't insult him. I wasn't abusive when I replied to his message. I just said that I was disgusted, and Erdin's part of our fan base, and also Erdin's a human being. And for us to just show a little bit of empathy and kind of understand where he's coming from, because you don't know if you're going to be in that position at some point and you might need someone to talk to. So that's why I don't, and I didn't even, and I know people have said he's done things in the past, and I've not even, because I want to know someone now. People make mistakes in the past and I accept that, right? But I wanted to know the guy now. And for me, that moment said enough. So that's where I stand on David. I won't say any more. He won't be coming back on ever again. That's what's going on. Yeah, he did delete the tweet, but this is it. I just don't speak to him. And this is also another thing as well. If you are struggling with your mental health and anything else, please feel free to just drop a comment on the stream. I'll end this stream to come and speak to somebody. I don't mind, because you matter. Not as a Forest fan, not as a football fan, not as a professional, as a person, as a human being, you matter. So that's all I'm saying. We've got Ralph joining the podcast in just maybe another 5 or so minutes. So Ralph, hold tight, my friend. We're coming for you. And Sammy Hammer, I'm 17, recently turned. So, yeah. Mr. Well, he can do. But I'm sure that Des, I know Des. I don't know Des great personally. I've only met him once in person, but I've spoken to him a good few times, and I'll just say that I'm sure that Des wouldn't stand for something like that, because Des cares for people and is always giving advice on mental health. But I won't speak for Des on that behalf. Yeah. But Des and Dor, great people. And also Dor, they both reached out to Erdin as well in a really, really nice way. So, yeah, I much respect for those guys, and I really love. And if you want to actually subscribe to both of them, Dor on Tour, you'll know, and Des do daily. Give him a subscribe because he deserves 1,000 subscribers. He deserves a lot more subscribers. So yeah, give him some love. Give him a subscribe and like all his videos. He's a legend. I love watching his videos where he's walking and talking about mental health. And it's really nice to hear someone talk and give you some advice as well, because everybody struggles. I struggle, at times. And I'm sure you will as well, at some point in your life. So, but that's all I want to say. I just want to go on and just say that. But I'll come to answer some of your questions. Yeah, as I love you, man. Rico, Mark, I love you, everybody. Just, yeah, means a lot to me. On the podcast guest, you should try and get Stuart Broad. I will try. I will do my best. I know he's not particularly easy to contact, but I'm sure that I can find. I'm sure I know someone who's Goldfish has an uncle whose brother's Stuart Broad. So I'll find a way, Luke. Let's say that. Gary Birtles, he is. And funnily enough, I actually was working the night he came into the pub the other day. And also Hayley from Coronation Street came in the pub the other day. So interesting, eh? Always speak out if you're low. Exactly. And James, I know for you to come and get you on my streams, it helps you a lot. So I'd love to get you on. And if any of you want a confidence boost and you want to come and talk about Forest, this is a very, very comfortable place to come and talk about it. So can you get Martin O'Neill on your show? Now, I've got a bit of a story about Martin O'Neill. Now, Martin O'Neill actually came into the pub once, and I wasn't there. I was at school. Him and Nigel Clough came in. And I remember apparently, Martin O'Neill has a really strange sandwich. It's like Stilton and this really, really strong pickle or mustard or something. So it's an odd sandwich that he had. I can't remember what it was. It must have been 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, I remember when he came in. I remember my mum calling me, and I was really kicking myself for not being there. Get Mark back on the podcast. Don't worry. It's all going to happen. Dave Asprey's going to be coming back on as well by popular demand, because I just want to say a big shout out to Dave, actually. Dave, I love you, man. Dave's an absolute legend, and he's really, really, he's really, really popular within the fan base, and he has a really, really good and vast knowledge of Forest. So Dave Asprey, my friend, you are a legend if you're listening. Definitely be good to have you on again soon. So Everton there for the taking. We could get another win. It's not going to be easy for sure, but there's 3 points available. They're demotivated, and Forest want it. I think it's going to be a very, very good battle. I'm looking forward to it. But this is it, Greg, and this would be the same for everybody. I won't say anything on Twitter that I wouldn't say to somebody else to their face. I'm always respectful to people on Twitter, and that's just how it works. Love Dino, give him a contract. Well, Man United can't recall him, so we're going to enjoy this season with him. Remember, don't fall in love with a lone player, but do fall in love with Dean Henderson. Remember that. So can you get Stuart Pearce on your show? Potentially, a bit more difficult because of his job with West Ham, because I don't know what he can agree to do media-wise, because I tried to get the head of football operations on at Forest, but unfortunately, as much as he said he'd like to, he couldn't because of his job. So, yeah, unfortunately, but I will try and get Stan Collymore. Funny enough, when I was probably about 12, I had Instagram, and now I look back at it, I kind of go, probably makes sense. But I messaged Stan Collymore, and he read a couple of my messages. I remember, and I was thinking, oh my God, the Stan Collymore message, has read some of my messages. Obviously, he didn't reply because I was, that young. But yeah, I remember. I do remember that. Let's have a look. Nick, I'm always free to talk, my friend. Just remember that. Always here to talk to you. Gordon Mikulev, I tried last night and got reported. Let me know what's happened with that. I don't know what's happened. I've not changed anything with your settings or anything, so do apologise for that. How many more do you reckon after Houssem Aouar? I think probably, I'd say maybe, Neil Maupay. I'd say maybe 2 more. I think Neil Maupay, and then they're going to look at maybe someone left-minded, whether it be a wing back or something. But Harry Toffolo really proved to be quite something, and you can see the improvements he made on the week. But if you go back and watch the stream after the Newcastle game, I'm not critical of him, but I said what I want the team to change, and that's passing more quickly. And you saw all of that, making more space. You saw absolutely all of that. So what can I say? They're just taking my advice. Of course they are. Did Graben ever give a goodbye message to the fans? Good question. I don't know if he did. I think Forrest made a little montage of things, but I don't think he ever did, no. Maybe Gary Birtles can help us get Martin O'Neill. Yeah, potentially. I know that my next guest after Gary Birtles potentially would definitely do that. Sorry. Yes, Stuart Pearce has left West Ham. You're correct. You are right. I think it's Kevin Nolan now, isn't it, that does all? It might be, or I don't know if they did different roles. Sorry, yeah, that is true. I remember when he left. Good point. I apologise. Mistake made. Cal, let's all go to Jamie's mum's pub to get up, meet all these celebs. I can't say they come in every night, but every now and then. I met David Walliams, and I remember I walked into the kitchen once, and I met Ainsley Harriott as well. Would you believe it? let's have a look. How's Dennis and Froyle going to fit in? Well, I think, when eventually, if you were to swap, and as much as I wouldn't, Mangala or O'Brien, or if any of them are tired or whatever, or, you've got a lot of rotation there. And also I was speaking to Lee about this on WhatsApp, and we were saying about the quality of players that are able to sub on. And that's really important. And Forest, for me, they have a quality subs bench now as well, which will make all the difference. So I'm feeling very optimistic about Forest and their approach, because people, I went on a podcast yesterday, which you can actually listen to. Forest have actually only brought in +3 players because they actually lost 12 players overall. So listen, they've done a lot of work and they've lost a lot of players. So to be completely honest, they've made the right amount of signings, and they're going to make a couple more, which will make it bang on. So yeah. Now, guys, I'm going to post a very quick link in the description, of which you can actually join the lovely podcast stream that we've got going on. Now, Gary Birtles has left me a voice message, so I will have to attend to that at some point, but I won't do it just yet. Now, let's have a look at some of these comments. Now, do believe me, I do try and get through all of your comments when I can, because at the end of the day, you all mean a lot to me. So I do try to get through no matter how difficult it is. Maupay on Hendo, January signed up. If not, Morgan Gibbs-White on a free next year. Yeah, definitely interested. Andrew Lever says Garner and another defender. What's the issue with Omar Richards, George? The issue is a hairline fracture on his leg. So he's likely to be out for another maybe 6 or 7 weeks, I'd say. But he seemed to be walking okay when I saw him at the City Ground. And in fact, a lot of fans met him as well because he was around. So hello, Mr. Martin. Hello. This is my little brother, Harry, everybody. So you can all say hello. Think Sky said that Mark Warburton is at West Ham. Interesting. Taking on a coaching role, I'd assume then. Interesting. Do you think Forest will get top 10? I don't, as much as I'd like them to. Do I think it's possible? Potentially. Anything can happen. But at the moment, my bet's on 15th. I think they'll get much better than that, though. We have a stat midfield and offence, but we don't seem to have enough options in defence. Well, I mean, you've got Niakate and Beso, Worrell, Biancone, Cook. I mean, what's that? 6 names. And then don't forget, you've got Kouyaté. That's 7 names for 3 places. So I'd say we're fine in that position. Wing back wise, you've got Biancone as well, potentially. But yeah, I'd say we're fairly stacked. I think we're good enough. Another cam is needed, says Sam. Mark, thank you for your very kind donation, £2. Don't forget that half of the money that I earn from YouTube will be going towards Mind, the mental health charity. So anything you donate, half of it will be going to charity. And I'll make sure that I prove this at the end of each month when I come to transact that money. Need to get Crossley on. Don't worry, I'm going to do some because I know he does some really good Cloughy impressions. So if you want to see Crossley, put your hand up and let's make it happen. Who should be in the midfield, my little brother? I think Houssem Aouar would be very nice. It'd be really, really tough. I couldn't say after this weekend. I couldn't say. But yeah, I don't. I think Mangala, Lewis O'Brien, and Lingard look really good. But I think Lingard could potentially be rotated for the next couple of games. I don't know if Froyle is the man to be doing that in that position, but he didn't look fully fit still at West Ham. Played really well, but I just don't think he looked fully fit yet. But that being said, still going to make it happen, and he's going to be great. If he's doing that unfit, then imagine him when he's fully fit. Yeah, 20 players minimum is what we're going to need. People saying Aouar's injury prone. I mean, I think, yeah, there was potentially a bit of a bad injury, but I don't really know what the situation is with that. I think Cooper will switch players in and out, and according to the profile of the opposition, 100%. I mean, every game is a different tactic and a different, all along the same lines, of course. But every game is a little bit different in its own way. So, yeah, Cooper knows how to adjust. And Beso not good enough for the Prem. I think he's vulnerable to the long balls, to be honest. But in just a moment, we're going to get a couple wonderful Forest fans. And Ralph, don't worry, I'm going to send you an invite link very soon towards the end of the show to get your thoughts. Malc, I think you can donate, if anybody knows, because I don't know how Super Chats actually work for guests that are watching. So I'm not quite sure on that one. But if you go to the Mind website, if you'd like to directly donate, then you can donate from there. Andrew Sharp, agree with Mark. Thanks for raising mental health. No worries, no worries. It's always good to talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, then it only gets worse. So keep in contact with me, and Andrew, I really appreciate your donation. And same for you, Ant the Hat. For your donation means a lot to me, and it goes a long way. And as I say, half will be given to Mind Charity, so please help out if you can. Top lad, love you, Baz, love you, mate. Should we get Josh Bowler? Not too bothered about Josh Bowler, to be honest, but we'll wait and see. And I did see Lingard telling Dino where to go. Now, without further ado, let's get some amazing Forest fans on. And I will try and keep an eye on the chat, but it will be quiet for a little while. And Woods has left briefly. But Chris, Forest All Over podcast. Now, we briefly spoke on Twitter, and I caught you out there, didn't I? I caught you out. You weren't ready to join then.
I wasn't, but I'm ready now.
You're ready now. Exactly. Now, first of all, welcome to the podcast. It's good to have you here. You're a keen Forest fan, as I'm sure we can probably tell from your bio on your under your face on the stream. But let me ask you then, Houssem Aouar, there's been a little bit of controversy surrounding him. Not sure whether he was going to come, but at the moment, Sky Sports are saying, and also I'm saying as well, that it looks like he will come. You know, how excited are you for him to potentially be arriving at the City Ground?
As a talent, I'm very excited to see him arrive, but I am a little concerned about, the stalling, and obviously that's a lot of stuff in the media, but I would like to see what Cooper thinks of him. Cooper meets with everyone. I saw an interview with Remo Freuler there, and he said the first thing that Cooper did was meet with him, chat with him, ask him about his personal life, not just on the football field, but off it as well. And I think that could make the difference. We saw how well Cooper gelled a large squad of players between the Newcastle game and the West Ham game. And it just seemed to be a world of difference. Obviously, the crowd helped, but I'm hoping he can do the same with that new signing. But I would just be a little bit concerned about players that aren't true believers in the project. I want to make sure that he is.
Well, I mean, you do raise a good point, and I've said the exact same on Twitter. But that being said, others raise a very good point in the fact that Aouar has no allegiance to Forest. He's a young lad, and I know for a fact when I played, and this is you're going to call me Alan Partridge again for this, but I've made, as a player career, I've always waited to hear all my options, because if I get an option, and I kind of an offer from Aston Villa, for example, sure, of course I'm going to wait a little bit longer to see if Juventus want to sign me. Do you know what I mean? But when it comes to Forest, of course, how long do we actually have for him to do that? But at the moment, I'm passing it off as a bit of media speculation, because Get French Football News were saying that that's the situation, whereas now what we're seeing from Sky Sports is his brother and representatives such as his agent are currently travelling or are at Forest to discuss this happening. So you're not concerned about his performance, but you're concerned about perhaps his attitude towards the club.
And I'm just getting that from Twitter feeds and the same sources you are. So I don't know the full situation. He could be an absolute legend and have a fantastic attitude. But that was the first person I've seen. Well, they're not 100% sure they're all in. They're looking at other offers. And I know it's fair enough, but maybe I'm still a little jarred by the whole Garner thing, because now we've realised James Garner's available, and then we have all these midfielders who've come in, and I know for a fact Garner would have been on board with the project, and that's probably what's getting me. Maybe it's a bit of bias on my side as well.
So okay, so we've got Aouar, then we've got Freuler as well, Dennis and Kouyaté. What impact do you think those three signings are going to have? Because obviously Kouyaté fairly versatile. I mean, they're all decently versatile to a degree. What do you think the importance of those joining is, and also what are your thoughts on versatility within the squad?
I think they're going to be a massive. Kouyaté played for Palace, and he's got Premier League miles under his belt. Dennis has played one season in the Premier League, and he scored 10 goals, 4 assists. I mean, for a struggling Watford side, it's a no-brainer. Freuler, he was at Atalanta. Was he playing in the Champions League last season against Man United? And he was their vice captain at times, I think. I haven't really fully researched it, but I think that those three players can have a massive impact, particularly Kouyaté and Freuler, because of their experience. That's what they bring to the squad. The squad's quite young, so it's good to have that experience.
Well, 100%. And obviously, Freuler as well, for anybody that plays Football Manager, I'm going to go back to it again. Mark Dennis, you'll know this. He's actually very highly rated. And obviously Swiss international as well.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of experience under his belt. And I do want to ask you, actually, for £7.6 million, and on average, as Nick Hemphill actually said, that Forest at the moment are averaging about £7 million per player. What are your thoughts on that? Because £7 million per player, that sounds almost championship business, but Premier League ability, from what we've seen already.
I think it's a robbery. I think that we've spent, I don't know, over 100 million now, but I think we spread that out over maybe 15 or 16 players. And with that specific fee for him, we've robbed the bank. We've taken a Champions League player who's an international for Switzerland for 7.5. I mean, it's ridiculous. I think we've done amazing business there. And I don't want to change the point or anything, but when you come to think of is Awani, is he still our most expensive player? And it's only 17 million. Is that right?
Technically, from a fixed fee, yes.
Okay.
But what I think Dennis was 12.5, rising to 20.
I mean,
so when that deal fully goes
still,
through,
yeah.
and that's also because there'll be performance related bonuses, I'm sure, in there. So it
Yeah.
may not fully reach the 20 million this season. So potentially, yeah, Awani could be the most expensive. So
I just think that, with all the noise that's been made in the press, and the narrative is changing now, we've seen that the press are starting to realise that Forest have had to do this, A, and B, have actually spent their money quite wisely, probably because we just beat West Ham on Saturday. But just realising that these players are costing 7 to 10 to 12 million. Even Neco Williams, he's 17 million. And you have Cucurella, who's 60 million, gone to Chelsea. I mean, I don't know. I just think we've just done amazing business, and I think it's a robbery for Freuler, to be honest. I think
Steve
we've done
Cooper
great.
can develop players and make them brilliant. And the last question I want to ask, just before Woods comes on in just a moment. Now, Nick Hemphill mentions a very good point. Obviously, very strict FFP rules in Spain, and I mean, I know that people are saying that there was potentially a weaker link between Betis and Aouar, but it's one of those where I suppose because that deal fell through, and I know that most people were saying that he was more inclined to go there. Nottingham Forest, most people saying that Cooper wouldn't sign him if it was the case where he just didn't want to come to Forest and wasn't interested in the project. So do you think people that are worrying now on Twitter and saying all these things about a bad backroom atmosphere and also about players that Steve Cooper doesn't want to sign, do you think people just need to calm down a little bit? Because to me, it just sounds like kind of whispers going around on Twitter that don't actually have any evidence behind them.
I would say so a little bit, and I'd include myself in that conversation. Like I'm one of those people that is very, very reactive. But when you think about it, at the end of the day, he's going to go into the training ground. Cooper's going to do his best for them. Cooper's not beholden to anyone. He's the one that we look up to, and all the players do. So, just like the Lingard situation, I hadn't really a doubt because Cooper, I knew, would do what's best for him and best for the club.
Well, listen, it's been absolutely amazing to have you on. And I just want to say a fellow Red, Riley Harbottle, has scored yet again for Mansfield Town. This is absolutely brilliant news as Mansfield go 4-2 up against Wimbledon in the 70th minute. That's a header coming in from Riley Harbottle. So everybody, clapping emojis, please, in the chat. Riley Harbottle, he's one of our own. Listen, it's been amazing to have you on the podcast, Chris. We're going to be having Woods on in a moment. Please do keep in contact, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks a million. Keep it going.
Thank you very much. Take care now, Chris. That was Chris, everybody, from the Forest All Over podcast, the absolutely amazing gentleman that is Chris. And as I say, for anybody that doesn't know, Riley Harbottle has just scored for Mansfield Town as they go 4-2 up against Wimbledon. So well done, Riley. An absolute credit to Nottingham Forest, and I'm sure you're going to be the future captain of the club at some point, I'm sure. Now, coming onto the stream, and hopefully you can hear me this time, is Woods. Oh, no, it was the other way around, wasn't it? I couldn't hear you. We're all good now, look. You can ask me questions. And what was that you said? Oh, what? Oh, no, I can hear you now. That's right. Now, Woods, what do you make of all this going on Twitter at the moment? Because obviously there is a lot going round, it's fair to say. What do you make of it?
Well, there's obviously varying reports. Some are coming from accounts with lesser followers than quite a lot of the bigger ones. I think I am leaning towards the he is coming side, but I'm not 100% going to go all out like celebration. He is our player until someone like John Percy or Fabrizio Romano like tweet about it personally. But
Yeah.
like I said, if he comes, then well, you know, then it's going to be brilliant for the club. You know, he's going to be having plenty of experience. You know, going to be playing he's played in the top division of France for his whole career. He's played in Champions League, Europa League, and at times he's also, and obviously as we've said before, he's had big clubs like Arsenal. I think City were after him at one point, and there's all these big clubs that were after him. So
let me ask you this then. Obviously, the hype train. Some people are saying that the hype train around Aouar died off a couple of seasons ago, and you know now Arsenal and City aren't interested. That he's not the kind of player he used to be. I mean, what do you think about that? Because often I feel like players get left in the dust a little bit when a club like Man City or Arsenal doesn't buy them. And often players just get forgotten about when in reality they're still very good players, but for various reasons the club hasn't bought them. Do you think it's unfair to pass judgment on Aouar right now, considering we haven't actually seen him in a Garibaldi shirt, and who knows, you know, what could happen in the next 24 hours? We might not see him in a Garibaldi shirt, and I think we probably will, but there's also a possibility we won't. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think it's very unfair to put he's a failed wonder kid, because he's still young. You know, he's about 24, 25. And you know, if it's all down to, he's had a lot of managers. He's played under a lot of managers, a lot of different systems. And you know, if we can find the system that he plays well in, he could go back to the Arsenals and Cities playing the wanting him. And also, I personally think, you know, if he is using us as a stepping stone for his career, that would help us as well, because he's not going to come into the club wanting to use us as a stepping stone for just be like, oh, I'm not going to try because I know they'll want to come in for me anyway, type thing.
Well, I know I agree, and also I do want to ask you because Owen mentions a good point, in fact, that he's dropped off form-wise. But we've seen from other players that have come to Forest. I mean, some players have never actually had form when they've come to Forest. Look at Keenan Davis. Professionally, he'd scored, 4 or 5 goals before he came to Forest? And technically, he's never had form before that. Now, do you believe that perhaps that Steve Cooper's the manager that can bring back form for a player like Houssem Aouar?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it a lot of the time. I think you could give pretty much anyone to Steve Cooper. And I think just the way Cooper treats the players on and off the pitch, they make them feel welcome, they make them feel loved. You know, just how tightly knit the manager is to the squad. I feel like he can work with anyone, really, and try and get them to play the best they can.
Well, absolutely. And awesome astronomy. This is Ralph here. We'll be coming on in just a moment. Garner, who was at Watford, I think, on loan after he'd left Forest, on loan and then came back to Forest. He wasn't on good form, and Spence certainly wasn't in good form. Middlesbrough were probably laughing at us, thinking, why on earth would they take him on? And although people definitely doubted them at the time and had no idea who they were, well, in particular, Jed Spence, they obviously knew James Garner a bit more. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So I think Steve Cooper's the right man to bring form out of them. But just before you go, and Nottingham Forest, they're being related. They're being linked. With Bakayoko. I don't know if you know much about the player. He used to play for Chelsea and then went to AC Milan. Kind of fell off a little bit. What are your thoughts on him? Because obviously, do you think Cooper could bring form out of him as well, or do you think that rumour might just be a bit of rubbish?
I think, I don't really know how to feel about it, because, you know, he's played for an AC Milan team, who I think recently won the Serie A, or was it like?
Oh, was it the Scudetto?
I think it was the Scudetto or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it was, but yeah, I know what you mean.
And so, no, I think he's said himself, I think, from reports, that he would want to come here. You know, he's interested in coming here. But I feel like it's a bit. I mean, every transfer we can be linked to is agent talk, really. I mean, when we were linked to Lingard, I was like, "There's no way this is going to happen. He'll just be using his agent will be using us to get a higher wage out of West Ham." But at the end of the day, you know, anything can happen. I feel like if Cooper can get all the team playing well, as they did versus West Ham, I personally feel like that was a very good team game for us. We were defensively solid, and attacking wise, I felt like a lot of our attacks could have led to goals, and I feel like we could have scored more. But I don't really know how to feel about Bakayoko. Obviously, it's another midfielder, but it's a more defensive minded midfielder. I feel like. So I don't really know how to make of it.
Anything can happen, as we've seen, but and you know, we should all hang tight and enjoy ourselves on this ride. And listen, Woods, it's been good to have you on where I can actually hear your questions and your answers. You know, minor technical difficulties, but look, the wonderful thing that is an Ethernet cable, the things it can do. Thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you have a great evening. Loving the Forest decoration all around. And of course, the away shirt as well. Definitely come back on soon. And guys, don't forget, if you want to join, there is actually an invite link pinned in the comments. So just click it and then join. Woods, thanks for joining, my friend. Have a fantastic night. And that was Woods, everybody. Thank you for joining. Cheers, mate. So that was the amazing Woods joining me there. Oh, a hug from Cooper could fix the cost of living crisis. I remember when he didn't give me a hug, but he put his hands on my shoulders. I remember. Have any of you ever seen the picture of me and Steve Cooper? I bet you haven't, have you? I bet you haven't. People were saying that he's my dad. Yeah. What do you think about that then? Yeah. Yeah, people saying that he looked, well, not looked like my dad, but I looked like I could be his son. So say what you want about that. But yeah, I've met Steve Cooper and he's a wonderful, wonderful man. I remember when I met him, I was just completely starstruck. My hand was like that holding the phone. It was the same with Lingard because the thing with Lingard was when I met Lingard, I accidentally left a countdown on my phone so that I had to wait 5 seconds for the photo to actually take. And I could just remember me and him just standing there awkwardly, like smiling at the camera. It was so, yeah. And all of you going no comment as if you don't know what I'm on about. Look, this is the picture of me and Steve Cooper, by the way. So say what you want. That's me and Steve Cooper there. So say what you want, but I've met Steve Cooper. What's the latest on Maupay? Everton and Fulham interested. Forest agreed fee, not agreed personal terms, so they've still got that to work on. But as far as I'm aware, looking like it'll happen. Despite what people are saying, I think it'll still happen. So let's have a look. Nick Hemphill, if you want to come on again, that'd be great. Malk, the only journalist worth listening to is Nottingham Forest fan Daniel Taylor. It is. He actually follows me on Twitter. Love Daniel Taylor. He's a great journalist. He's been covering the Ryan Giggs situation, which I'm sure you've all heard about. Very, very distressing. But yeah, on a Forest related one, Daniel Taylor, very good. Fabrizio Romano has been spot on as well. Of course, John Percy and me had our own little feud of our own. But yeah, Paul Taylor's good as well. Met him at Newcastle. So yeah. Don't want Hudson Odoi. Yeah, not sure about that one. Don't forget Steve J. I've adopted you. Oh well. I mean, oh God, that's very kind of you. I will have to maybe get Steve Cooper to come on the podcast. How about that, everybody? That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Just after Gary Birtles. Is MGW not happening now then? I'd say probably not. As I say, the journalist from the Mirror that wrote the article told me the other day, stance remains the same. Morgan Gibbs-White, don't know what he feels. Wolves don't want to sell. They're buying in Nunes for 50 million and they still don't want to sell. I know I don't look like his son, Alex. I know, but people are saying that I just look like I could be his son, essentially. I did ask my mum the question. But anyway, that's a different talking point. Now, we've got the amazing Ralph. He talks a lot of sense. He knows a lot about space as well, which is amazing. And no, Natalie Jackson is not my mum. She did used to live on my road, funnily enough, though. But anyway, back to football. Ralph, as I said to Woods and also Chris just before, lots going on over the last 24 hours in terms of players potentially signing for the club. Where do you stand on everything?
Well, pretty much agree with absolutely everything that Woods said. He talked so much sense there. It's such a busy time, isn't it? And it's so exciting. And just going back since we last spoke, that week from Newcastle to West Ham, what a difference. It's like two completely different teams, isn't it?
Well, but this is it, though, isn't it? And it's the difference that, and I want to ask you about the money spent, because there's still people that think Forest are doing a Fulham. Now, of course, I'm going to say, well, that's a load of rubbish because I'm a Forest fan. And of course, I would never, ever want to say, that, that's the case. But well, what do you think about it? What are your thoughts on it as a whole?
Swiping constantly on Twitter to see when Aouar's signing or when Dennis is coming in, I'm getting so frustrated with all the comments on there about Fulham. I don't know why we're taking the bait as Forest fans. Just let them say whatever they want. We don't care when Derby say anything bad about us. Why should we care when Fulham say anything about us or anyone else say we're doing a Fulham? We'll let our talking be done on the pitch, and Steve Cooper will do the talking for us. We might be doing a Fulham, but I doubt it with the quality we sign, especially if we get someone of the quality of Aouar in as well. We've got some really good ballers now. And
we're also averaging at £7 million per player. That's who we're buying. Yeah. And our most expensive player's been, 17.5 million pounds? I mean, that's not that bad, really.
No, and that's for someone who got 15. I know the Bundesliga is not quite as good as the Premier League, but it's someone who got 15 goals in the Premier League last season, 20 across all competitions. 17.5 million as our most expensive one. Dennis might not even go up above 12 or 14 million because if some of the odds, add-ons are outrageous. Like if we win the Premier League or if we get into Europe or if he scores 50 goals for his country. We don't know what those add-ons are, but some of them will be ludicrous as well. So we're never going to pay anything like 20 million for him.
So let me ask you then, and someone raises a very good point. Fulham, they seem to be looking like they're playing a little bit better. We shouldn't jump the gun with any team, but they're certainly looking a lot stronger than they have done in the past. And yes, Ralph is a top panelist. Warren knows his stuff. Warren, top man, my friend. But Fulham, so far, not so bad. And I think that potentially there's other candidates that are going to go down this year. And I think it's going to be a very tough league to stay in all round. What are your thoughts on that? Because I think potentially Wolves, could be in a relegation battle. We know that Leicester could have a low finish. Southampton could be dragged down there. What do you think Fulham have a good chance of staying up this season? Or do you think it will be Fulham and Bournemouth and then Everton, as people suspect?
I think it's so early to tell, isn't it, in the season? What we played 2 games now. I don't think we're going to really know until Christmas time how things are looking. That squad depth is going to be so important, and that's something that Cooper and Dane and Marinakis get, that you've got to have quality in depth because we're going to have to rotate players because we're going to exhaust ourselves, and it's going to be the same for other players as well, or the teams as well, that they've got to have that squad depth. And you can see that the likes of Fulham and Bournemouth don't have that quality in depth because they've not bought like we have. And it might just be jealousy, some of these criticisms about the money that we're spending. But I think that Everton are going to struggle. Wolves, like you say, could struggle. I thought Aston Villa might have even struggled a couple of weeks ago, but they're looking better now. Brentford looking good, although the way that Man U played at the weekend, anyone would look good against them. It's a shame we weren't playing them last weekend.
Yeah, well, Man United really struggling. They're going to be in a lot of trouble. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there's been a bit of breaking news. Another Forest man, Will Swan, has scored. Let's go. Amazing. That's Riley Harbaugh and Will Swan, both Forest Academy graduates. Congratulations, gents. Great work. So let's talk about media coverage of Forest, shall we? Now, obviously, there's a lot going around. you know, in specific, a lot of in the French media, of course, covering Aouar and stuff, but varying reports in the French media. Now, let me get your thoughts on Talk Sport and also Sky as well, because I think Sky have been quite balanced in the way they report, as others have just said, Nick has said as well, and people have mentioned it throughout the thing. I think they've been better recently. Talk Sport, still not 100%. You know, Graham Souness being a bit harsh towards Forest before they won. What do you think about media coverage as a whole? Is this the standard for a newly promoted Premier League team, or is there a bit of a media offensive against Forest going on?
There's two sides to Talk Sport. The straight after Lingard West Ham bias, with their owner being a West Ham fan, and then a couple of weeks afterwards when they realised they got to pull it back a little bit and dial it back to the middle again. And I think it's just the fact that media now has to be so sensationalist, and they thrive on outrage, and they thrive on clicks and getting people to respond. And it's a sad fact that that's the way that the media is now. I don't think it's been unfair. I don't think you can look at the media as being fair or unfair anymore like you could do 10 or 20 years ago, because the media is a different beast now. It's just about getting your attention, getting eyes on, and that's all that matters.
But surely, I mean, presenting facts. I mean, if there's been fans that I've seen all throughout today showing the business Forest have done, the players they've lost, the money they've spent, the average of £7 million that they've spent per player. How is that not a good talking point for journalists? Because surely a club potentially staying up when spending an average of £7 million on players in the Premier League is an absolute success story. How is that not talked about?
Yeah, I think it's because it's not the story that matters. It's how you're going to get people to stay on your website, or how you're going to get people to stay listening to TalkSport or watching the YouTube videos on TalkSport. But there's no doubt that if we bring in somebody like Aouar, given the quality and the people that have been after him before, and you've only got to look at the comments on Twitter now from Man United fans that are like, why on earth are we not going in for him? That's the kind of stuff where I think the balance starts tipping a little bit, where people start saying, oh, actually, no, Forest have been really shrewd here. They've got some really good quality players. They're really going to make a fist of it. They're getting people for a snip. And hopefully we'll start seeing the Steve Cooper effect when it comes to coaching them and bringing them along, and those players that maybe a little bit damaged, or that have had a really hard time of it, Cooper can really bring them out of their shell and give them that love, so that they become great players again.
And then the last question I want to ask you then, Ralph, before we end this and go to a Q&A, is what would you rate Forest business so far? And also, what other players and how many players do you think Forest need to bring in before the end of the window?
I'd rate it a 10 out of 10 so far. I was a little bit nervous at that period where it looked like we were just getting defenders and we hadn't sorted out the midfield. And I think we just got Taiwo at the time. But even that nervousness, I would still put it as like a 6 or a 7 at that point. Since then, I think we've a 10 out of 10 now. I want Aouar in as a real signature marquee signing. And after that, I don't really mind if we don't bring anyone else in. I think we probably will bring a couple more in. But Toffolo's shown that he can probably fill in that left back position. The guy, is it Quarty from Palace? He can fill in at centre half. If we do lose another defender, because at the moment, we've probably got Niakate out and Cook will step in. Then we've got Bianconi if another one gets injured. So I think we're probably well equipped at the moment. If we look at the bench now with another 3, 4, maybe 5 players in this week, that bench is now starting to look pretty full.
And obviously, this is the last stream till Saturday night. So I apologise for everybody that doesn't know that. This is the last stream until Saturday. I know, please don't go on at me. I've got work for all those days. And Saturday morning, I'm getting a lift up to the game. I don't know who it's with yet, but I'll tell you as the days go on. But let me get your thoughts ahead of Everton then, just before you go. How are you feeling ahead of that? It's a game for the taking, of course, if we can, but there's undoubtedly going to be challenges.
Yeah, I think I was nervous ahead of Newcastle. I thought we'd lose. I was nervous ahead of West Ham. I thought we'd lose. this game, I think this is where we show that we are better than those teams that are going to struggle this season, and show that we're not one of those teams that are going to struggle. So in a sense, there's a bit more pressure on this one for me, because I think this kind of defines us as a club. Are we going to be one of those struggling clubs, or are we one of those that are going to pick off the struggling clubs? And how fast we gelled between last week and this week, and hopefully before this weekend with the extra time that we've got, I think if that progress continues, then we should easily beat Everton. But who's going to turn up on the day? And are Everton just going through a bit of a rough patch and not playing how they should be playing? That's football, isn't it? But we should beat them.
Well, everybody, this is the amazing Ralph that's joined us today. And Ralph, I just want to thank you again for joining us. Very kind of you to come and join us. Obviously, I know you're taking time out of your own night to come and talk Forest to our wonderful, wonderful viewers. So really, really appreciate everybody also tuning in and listening to Ralph. Ralph, thank you. Definitely having you on again soon, guys. This is the amazing Ralph from Awesome Astronomy. So Ralph, thank you for joining.
My pleasure, Jay. Smash that subscribe button, everyone.
Yes, smash the subscribe button. Please like, and thank you for joining me, my friends. So that was the amazing Ralph, everybody. And he joined to talk a little bit about Forest. Now, if you're enjoying the panelists we've got on, don't worry. It's only going to get better and better, and definitely having Ralph on again soon. I really, really like Ralph. Very kind gentleman, and also a very big Forest fan. So. Lots going on. Derby drawing 2-2 against Shrewsbury. Will Swan and Riley Harbottle getting goals for Mansfield. Amazing. Thank you very much, Caius. Very good guest, James. I really, really enjoy having Ralph on. Mark, I'm sorry. I'm not back till Saturday. I'm so sorry. It's just not possible, unfortunately. Thursday, I will not be available. So I plan on going out with a few friends on Thursday, having a little bit of a break. So, yeah. Now, don't forget, you can answer. I will answer any of your questions. We're going to go into a bit of a longer Q&A this time, about 15-20 minutes of Q&A. So please feel free to send over your questions. And also, if you'd like to come and quickly jump on the stream, please feel free. The invite link is currently pinned. Don't forget also that we do have super chats available, and I just want to thank everybody that has actually donated today and been a massive help. Because you've done a good job. And don't forget, this video is sponsored by Remedy Beast, the amazing CBD company there. So let's have a quick look at some of the question. Everyone look at the alternate angle video near Karte. Yeah, he doesn't look, and this is what I've said though, Nick, he's obviously got a hamstring issue there, but I don't think it'll look massively serious. Do I think he'll be there for Everton? I'm not going to place my bets. I'm not a betting person anyway, but I'm not going to place my bets. So, yeah, for me, I would say maybe a week, but it might not be even that bad. So let's just hope. Let's just hope and pray that he's okay, because he seemed to jump back up and play and did okay. But obviously things can change and other things can come into play. So we'll wait and see. Where do you think Yates and Colback's future lies with us after if we sign Garner and having O'Brien? It's tough, isn't it? Because sorry, I sound a bit brummy there, and it's tough, isn't it? But I think Yates has a place. I don't think the football's as regular as he would expect or want. That being said, he was good last season, and it's undeniable that Cooper will have a plan for him. I just think he'll be in rotation, potentially getting a couple of games and whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's a very good question. Colback, I would say probably this season as a rotation, and if that, and then potentially see him leave at the end of the season. You don't want to see that because he's been a brilliant servant despite how badly all the managers have treated him. But yeah, that's how I see it going. Thank you. I appreciate kindness. Did I say 2-2 against Shrewsbury? Sorry, it is 0-0. I don't mean to get that wrong. I think I've got the wrong score there. Apologies for that. It is 0-0 at Derby. Cold Tuesday night down in Shrewsbury. It's 0-0. So apologies for that. Did get the score wrong. Does O'Brien keep his place based on his performance last weekend? Yeah, I do think so. I think Freuler would come on a little bit later on in the game, to be honest. That being said, you just don't know, do you? So I would say so, but Cooper's the man. Alan Tate's the man. They know they want to pick. So I would say O'Brien still keeps his place and Freuler coming on late. I've joined late, but have you seen Lingard? No worries. Don't worry for joining late. There's a lot to watch and enjoy. I did see Lingard. I suppose they played together at England, haven't they? I think so. Maybe it's a technique. I mean, it's a rubbish technique, but yeah, rubbish technique all round from Declan Rice for that. 150 million. Is he worth it? I don't know. Look at the wholesome content. NFFC, amazing. And wow, awesome astronomy. Guys, Ralph has just donated £20. How kind of him. Ralph, you, my friend, are a star. I just really want to thank you for that amazing donation. Don't forget, half of it goes to the Mind charity as well. So that is £10 to an amazing charity, and we've already raised a lot of money. So honestly, Ralph, that goes such a long way, and I'm really, really appreciative of that. So Ralph, thank you, everybody. And thank you, Ralph, for that really, really kind donation. It means a lot to me. And thank you for coming on. We'll have you on again soon, 100%. And that donation is absolutely immense. So thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you. Ralph, everyone, amazing. Just supported this channel for a long time and just means a lot. Here Colback is doing his badges. I've not heard of that, actually. I mean, that's really interesting. You should say that. It would make sense. Footballers nowadays, you know, if they've not been a top footballer, they've always got that option to go in. I mean, whereas Colback actually has, so he hasn't got to worry too much. I'm sure he's got a bit of money with him and he's made good investment. But that being said, players nowadays, they've got a career in coaching potentially after that. So there's always a good stream of money potentially coming in. So yeah, be very good to see Colback doing his badges. Could be the new Derby manager next season then, Colback. Let's hope not. So I mean, could be a Sunderland manager. Don't forget, he did play for Sunderland as well as Newcastle. Thank you so much for your time and a good charity too. Honestly, Ralph, the pleasure is all mine for having you join me and your donation again. So thankful. And yeah, it's going to go to a long way. And don't forget, if you ever want to talk, you know, if you've ever got a problem, you can message me on Twitter at I'm Jamie Martin. My inbox is completely open, and you don't have to follow me, or I don't have to follow you to make that happen. Just literally drop me a message and I'll always be available to come and chat about things that are going on. You know, if you want to come and do a bit of streaming with me, or you want to be part of the YouTube channel and do a thing here and there, let me know, because I'd be more than happy to accommodate you. So thank you to you, Mark, Ralph, for that, and Mark sends his thanks as well also. So thank you, everybody. That is amazing. George, stop it. Dear Carbe better than John Robertson. Look at him. He's fishing. Jack Colback to stay and coach at Forest. Oh, that'd be interesting. I mean, you know, I'd quite happily have him in the coaching staff at my Saturday League side. That being said, we've got a dashing young lineup of a lovely man called Sam Randall and Carl as well. So I don't know if we need Colback at my Saturday League side. We've got Carl and Sam, but yeah, you know, I think Colback could be a good coach, be a very good coach. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of him in the pub, but he seems to get on with people very well. Yeah, he's a really good player, but he'll be a bench warmer. I really hope that's not the case, but at the same time, it's so hard to get into that team. So hard. So it's a really, really tough one, to be honest. I like Ryan Yates, but I think it's going to be a lot of rotation. But I think that'll be the same for most players, won't it? So 101 of you, 1,101 of you subscribed currently. Thank you for letting us hit 1.1k as we dreamed of doing. Just remember that if you can possibly, you know, help us, please subscribe. And also drop a like on the videos. Currently 102 likes on the video. If you can make that a little bit more, that'd be wicked. So subbed player at the Chef Wednesday game just slapped one of the coaching staff. Really? Wow, that's unreal. So I'm guessing Twitter is going to go absolutely mental now, no doubt. But that is interesting. Wow. So a player. So Nick, tell us a bit more about that. Has he just come off and then done that? Wow. Ralph says, love Yates and others so much, but we can't be sentimental. Yeah, there's no room for sentiment in the Premier League, which makes it really hard. That being said, Yates is vice captain. It will have a massive role to play throughout next season. So let's see how it goes, shall we? Will Tyro score +10? Yes, he will. I think Tyro will do very well this year. I think he'll prove all the doubters wrong. And as I said from the very, very start of him signing, he needs a bit of a confidence boost, and he got that from being the first person to score for Nottingham Forest in the Premier League this century. So Tyro Awoniyi, he's going to be a brilliant, brilliant player. You've got to be confident, and you've got to give him confidence, because all he needed was people singing. He didn't stop smiling from the moment he jumped out of his car, which I saw. He was smiling. And he jumped on that pitch, and he proved the physical test for Zuma, as I said he would. And probably Cooper said the same. He did better than, and I thought he was going to come and do well that game, but he even beat my expectations. So Tyro Awoniyi, take a bow, my friend. Played very, very well. And yeah, I think he'll get 10 plus goals. Let's all get behind him. He's a good player. And we've got another Super Eagles Nigerian player coming, obviously, with Emmanuel Dennis. So bit of chemistry between them two. Be good to see that. Keep in mind how key Rice is to England. O'Brien more than matched him. Absolutely. I mean, it's one game. So obviously I'm not going to be too harsh on Declan Rice, which I have been recently. Obviously I've judged him off a penalty. I just want to say Declan Rice is still a very good player, but Lewis O'Brien should really get a look in. And obviously I'm sure that Gareth Southgate was going to look at Dean Henderson, Lingard, Bowen and Declan Rice, but in reality he ended up looking at, the likes of Lewis O'Brien. So very, very impressed. And I think there's a space for him in England in a few years. I mean, he's 23. So what has he got to lose? It's not like he's 30 now and this is his only chance. Lewis O'Brien's 23, and he's in a good side and he's doing well. And I just want to say, I told you so, everybody. I say this every single podcast. I told you so, that Lewis O'Brien would do well. There's something about him. I just knew he could make that step up. And Toffolo as well. I was a little bit kind of like that with Toffolo, but he did amazing. Sorry if you can hear water going out. That's my drains. The drain's next to me. Buys Sheffield Wednesday slapped Smith, the coach, hand, and then they were pushing each other. Wow. So what is it this weekend with antics on the dugout? I don't know what's going on with that. That's crazy. It was Conte and Tuchel, and now it's Byers and Smith. Wow. Byers and Smith. It sounds like a little band that you'd see in a pub, wouldn't it? Hi, Jamie. Just joined. Sorry if you already mentioned it. Have you seen Aouar's agreed to join? Yes. I've seen that that's the case. So I know that his representatives are about and are in the country with Forest. So at the moment, it's looking like Aouar's going to come in. As I said, I thought it was likely from the start. My mum was watching the game, and the first thing she noticed was, exactly, he smiles a lot. And that's nice to see. It's his dream to be in the Premier League. So, yeah, really, really impressed. Do you think we'll put midfield Saturday and just play Awoniyi up front and the midfielders? No, I do think we'll stick with the two. You see the interview with Steve Cooper. He says, that they want to keep playing what they were playing. So, no, I don't think so at the moment. And by the way, shirt watch today. It is the Forest Pinnacle shirt. Very, very beautiful shirt. Chris Martin, my dad, my amazing father. Is Maupay still coming in? Just came in. No worries. It's okay. You got a lot to catch up on, Dad. Oh, my God. No, I'm joking. But seriously, Maupay at the moment, looking like he will. Just got to agree personal terms from what I can tell. This is being reported by multiple outlets and also Sky Sports. Fulham and Everton are interested, but at the moment is still most likely to come to Forest, just waiting on those personal terms to be agreed. So the next 24 hours is going to be pretty important if we want to sign Neil Maupay. But at the moment, nothing solid in that. Still things to be done yet. Never in a million years would I have guessed that Lewis O'Brien would ever be the best player on the pitch in front of the England manager. Exactly. But this is it, though, Ralph. It's about how a player turns up on the day, and it's not just about the price tag, because people go, if you said to anybody, who do you think is going to play better in the game, Declan Rice or Lewis O'Brien, they're going to look at Declan Rice's price tag and go, he's worth 120 million according to West Ham. And Lewis O'Brien was bought for 10 million. Oh, okay then. Well, obviously Declan Rice. It's about how you turn up It's about how you turn up, not how much you cost. Remember that. It's about how you turn up on the pitch. So, yeah, I will say on that one that, I think Lewis O'Brien shocked many, but I said that he'd be a good player. Partridgeisms. I told you so. Oh, don't do this to me. Don't. Because I know, Ez, I don't know if you're even in the chat, or Kel. If you're in the chat, I know you'll be doing this to me. You'll be clipping this. Just ordered a Nigeria shirt with a 1E on it. Brilliant. Love it. Is your dad the ex-Derby striker? No. So I just want to clear this up. My dad never played for Derby, and my dad also was never in Coldplay. So just clearing that up. Dad was never in Coldplay, and he's never played for Derby. Never played for Derby. He was a goalkeeper, was my dad. Although he claimed to be better at rugby, but we'll have to see about that. Declan Rice isn't worth what everybody knows it. Exactly, but I think they want him to achieve legendary status at West Ham, and they just want that to happen now. So they don't want to let him go for any price. So that's probably why it's happened. They're outpricing him, and he seems to be happy with it. When or will we get a sponsor, do we reckon? I would have thought it'd be before the West Ham game, to be honest. And yeah, we nearly made a whole stream without a shirt sponsor question, didn't we? Yeah, but no, seriously, I would say next couple of weeks. Yeah, very exciting. Now, so I just want to bring you some breaking news from Nottingham Forest. That it's more news about Houssem Aouar. Now, I'm going to put up a very, very dramatic thing on my screen in just a moment. So have a look at this. Breaking news. Houssem Aouar, according to RMC Sport, which is a French organisation, 1.9 million followers. This is exactly what they've said. They've said that Nottingham Forest has gone one step further to welcome Aouar. According to their information at RMC Sport, a total agreement exists between the club, the player, and his representatives. So at the moment, as it stands, if Aouar is okay, which is not yet the case for Olympique Lyon, so what's going on essentially is, looks as though everything's agreed. The club's okay with it. The player's okay with it. Just waiting for everything to go through now. Very likely to happen. And so let's all wait for it. I know that it said that Lyon actually rejected 2 previous offers from Nottingham Forest for him, but it looks like they've accepted it now. So that's a bit of breaking news for you there. I'm loving the very dramatic banner that I've got going on here just under my face. But there you go. So Aouar, not done yet. So don't hold me to it, but it's looking like it is very, very likely now. And someone said to me, they said, but you know, Aouar, he's not going to sign, or this rumor only came about a few days ago. No, the Aouar rumor has been around for weeks, at least over a fortnight. So get ready for this, everybody. It's the transfer that I wanted to see happen, and now it's looking very, very likely that it will happen. So stay tuned, buckle your seatbelts, people. We're going for it. I'm excited. I can't even get my words out. So let's have a look. Yeah, RMC Sport. Oh, this is amazing. And people will be scrapping for a place at this rate to play. It's very competitive. There's 200 of you in the stream now, though, and it's 10 o'clock. We're going to go for a little bit longer. If you can drop us a like, we're at 130 and get us to 120. That'd be awesome. And please subscribe. There's 1,101 of you subscribed. So if you can subscribe, goes a long way. Let's have a look. You're still live. You're mad. See, Dor, the only reason I'm live is because I'm waiting for you to send me this contract. You've got my number. Message me on WhatsApp with this contract. I'm ready to sign it. Whatever you want to do. Boom, let's sign it. Sign the contract. Come on, Dor. Send it over. Everybody, get Dor to send over this contract. We're going to make it happen. I think it's the structure of the deal then. Lyon will accept. We wouldn't agree personal if we weren't willing to pay the money. Exactly. And 17 million euros isn't actually an incredibly ridiculous amount of money, to be honest. So I'm pretty pleased with that deal, to be honest. And I'm looking at it now, and 17 million euros going off current estimates is 14.3 or just under 14.3 million pounds. So you're paying less than what you paid for most for the most expensive players. And 14.3 million pounds for a player like Houssem Aouar is absolute brilliant business. I'm very excited. I think the business there is phenomenal. And for people concerned about his form, look at Jed Spence, look at James Garner, look at Keenan Davis, look at Sam Surridge. You can look at most of the Forest team from last year and say, this is what's going to happen. So this is big. This is big. It's happening, people. It is happening. And there you go. Breaking news. Houssem Aouar, it's looking like he's going to be coming to Nottingham Forest. Share it to your Forest group. Share it to your Twitters. Share it everywhere. Make sure you credit the stream as well. That would help. It's looking likely, people. It's looking likely. And Murphy the Magician and Cooper there in the corner as well. It's happening. Ooh, 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 ooh. I love the shape. Oh my God, Jesus, Nick. I mean, I would be a little bit concerned with fans singing they love the shape of him, but I get what you're getting at. Nice, I like that. Sign the contract, big boy. Sign the contract. You know the Mike Tyson thing I'm mentioning here. Actually, you've got a boxing profile. You'll know that. A few months' time, Daw will be asking to sign for you. Oh well, I'm not doing these contracts. Daw's doing it all for me at the moment. I mean, look, he's talking to Billy, his agent, and Billy, believe me, is a very, very, very clever businessman. So Billy knows what's best. I'm offering to join on a 5-year deal for free. Daw, you can't go wrong with that. I'm not out of contract at my current place, but I've got a bit of spare time. So, people, if you want to see me sign the contract, keep tagging Daw. Keep tagging Daw and saying you want to see me sign the contract. It's what you want to see. 8th place finish, Europa Conference. Can we do it? Good question. I'm still going 15th because I stick by my word as much as I don't want to at the moment and say I think we'll finish in the top 10. I'm going to stick by my word at 15th. Remember, people, we're only 2 games in, 36 games left to go. And I just want to say there's still a lot to be done. So don't get your hopes up just yet. Remember that West Ham game was a very good game for the team. Remember there's going to be challenges we're going to have to overcome, but also remain optimistic, as I have been throughout this whole time. So stay optimistic, stay realistic. Remember that. Mangala Freuler with Aouar in the tennis Champions League level. I mean, who would have thought you could have someone like O'Brien or Lingard as a backup? And it's hard to imagine O'Brien as a backup after how he played. So very, very, very pleased with that. Very pleased with that. Never doubt the ability of Forest. And Forest, as someone actually did say, they've got a massive pull. Yeah, as NFFC Mark said, Forest have got a massive pull. And when you sign a player like Aouar as well, you're not just signing a good player for ability. You're signing a player that will, in the future, if Forest do stay up, people are going to look at that team and they're going to go, Jesus, Forest have signed Houssem Aouar. I want to play alongside this player. I want to play alongside Dennis. I want to play alongside these players. So it's going to take a while, but we've got a big pull and the club's certainly bringing in a lot of players and a lot of new fans wherever they've come from. So interesting. Looking at the post on French Algerians seem to think he'll come to England. He'll switch from France. It's possible. It's possible. It's hard to get into the French setup, and obviously, if he's actually Algerian, which I've heard he is, then that's just how it is. So let him do his thing. But we're on about Forest now. But very interesting. If we're 10th or 12th by Xmas, would Marinakis settle for that? I think he'd probably settle for it. But I think he's going to do work either way in January. So I'm not too worried. But I think probably would still push for something. Ralph's still saying 15th. Interesting. Transfer market valued Aouar at 49.5 million 18 months ago. But this is it. The media hype trains and everything. They ruin players. They make players. They do a lot of things. Just trust in Cooper and the team. He's going to make it happen. So, Yatesy at Stags are ground to trying to get a contract already. Oh, stop it. Don't say that. Well, listen, guys, it's been amazing to bring you some news on Houssem Aouar, some news on Mansfield, some news on Huddersfield, who at the moment it looks like I think they lost the last time I checked. If we have a look, they lost 2-1, so they managed to get a goal back with Pat Jones in the 81st, but Josh Sargent and Daniel Sinani got goals for Norwich early on. So it's been an eventful night. It has been for sure a very eventful night. Nottingham Forest looking like they're going to be doing some good business. Derby drew 0-0 with Shrewsbury as well, so not a great result their side on a cold Tuesday night. So for me, very, very happy. And Cooper, we nearly went the whole stream out, so I'll mention it. He's going to sign a contract extension very soon. Don't worry about that. It's going to happen, people. Don't stress. It's happening, okay? It's going to happen very soon. So just keep your eyes peeled. Things are going to happen. It's been a pleasure to bring this stream to you. 184 of you in. Smash the like button as always. And thank you all very much for supporting the channel. Glad that there's only been one technical issue so far in this one. But from me, the media man, Jamie Martin, Ralph, Woods, Chris, and also Doron Tori, who owes me this contract, it is a goodbye. So thank you all for joining. Ralph, thank you for your donation. Mark, Andrew, everybody that donated tonight means a hell of a lot to me. And it's going to be a lot of it going to charity as well. So cheers for joining. Remember, Gary Birtle's podcast coming very, very soon. Also, remember, if you're ever struggling with your mental health, drop us a message. Always here for you guys. And Paul, I appreciate your comment. Trying to make these streams getting better. It's harder with content, coming a bit less now with the transfer market coming to a close for Forest. Or I say that, but we could be signing loads more. So, listen, bit of pleasure. Pets, Plants and Fish Tanks, thanks for joining again. Mark, Kev, Ralph, Malk, everybody that joined, Ben, George, everybody, Desi, thank you for joining. Have an absolutely wonderful evening. This is the last stream until Saturday. I know, don't worry, I'm crying as well. It's fine, crying inside. We'll be back with a bang, I'm sure, and hopefully we'll be back with 3 points as well when I'm doing that stream. So that'll be late at night at Everton. I don't care how late it is. I care about you guys. So thank you all for joining. Have a wonderful night, and please share this to any of your friends and recommend us for subscription. So thanks for joining. Have an awesome night. Take care.